Hey y'all, it's Jen. Welcome to this week's What's for Dinner video. This week I am sharing 3 meals that were simple and quick and that we really enjoyed. I'm not claiming to be a professional chef here, guys. I'm just an average mom trying to feed my family things I think they will actually eat. So if you're not looking for perfection, I'm your girl. Just don't forget to subscribe before you leave and click all on notifications, or noties as my 8-year-old calls it, and you won't miss a thing. Thank you all for joining me today. Let's go on and get on into the meat of this video. Dun-dun-ch. Alrighty, y'all. Tonight for dinner is going to be the Pioneer Woman's Steakhouse Kabobs, and I cannot wait to dig into this. It sounds amazing. All right, so what you'll need is 1 pound of red potatoes, a package of whole mushrooms here, and I've got, let's see, almost a pound and almost a pound, so almost almost 2 pounds of sirloin steak here. I've got my skewers. You will need 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, black pepper to taste, kosher salt, which I just have table salt, whatever, it is what it is. And you will also need, how much olive oil? Hold up. Oh, 1/4 of a cup of olive oil, but you will use 1/8 of a cup and then 1/8 of a cup. You have basically divided. Yeah, does that make sense? Okay, all right, so I'm gonna get to work on this, and I believe we're gonna go ahead and grill them. So Jeffrey let me loose on the grill this night, so I'm going ahead and crank it up all the way to high and go ahead and burn off all the old from the last time we grilled. Next, I'm going to go ahead and heat a pot of water on my stove here, and I'm going to go ahead and add in my red potatoes. I did also salt the water. I'm going to boil these for about 8 to 10 minutes, just until they're barely starting to get tender. You don't want them cooked all the way through. Next thing, I'm going to go ahead and cut my steak into 1.5 inch pieces for the kebabs. And in case you're wondering, the steak I'm using here is sirloin, so it does have some fatty pieces in it. Next, I'm going to go ahead and season the meat. That would consist of 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, salt, and a generous amount of pepper. Now I'm going to go ahead and toss the meat to coat it. All right, now I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to start getting together my vegetables. Here I have rinsed off my mushrooms and I'm drying them. I'm going to go ahead and cut them in half. And I may or may not have slipped a few of them because I love raw mushrooms. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and work on the potatoes. I did cut the smaller ones in half, and the bigger ones I cut into 4 pieces. And I'm going to go ahead and add those in with the mushrooms, and I will also go ahead and season those with 2 tablespoons of olive oil, a half a teaspoon of garlic powder, salt, and a generous amount of pepper. And now I'm going to go ahead and toss those as well to coat. Now we're going to go ahead and thread these bad boys up. My daddy gave me the awesome idea of using 2 skewer kebabs for each kebab. Yeah. And so this worked perfectly. So whenever I put them on the grill, whenever I went to turn them, they didn't slip around. They just flipped right on over for me. So I'm just alternating the steak, the potatoes, and the mushrooms. Alrighty, and here they are all ready to go on the grill. And you know what I think would be awesome on this as well? Red onion, if you like onion, which I happen to. So I may have to try that next time. So here I'm just giving my grill a good spraying with olive oil, and I'm going to go ahead and throw these bad boys on the grill. They did not take long at all, you guys. Also, I wanted to add that before I put them on the grill, I did cut my heat down to about medium. And then I went out to flip them, and they flipped over perfectly. And here I am done cooking them. They turned out so good, and I just thought that they looked so pretty on those skewers. All right, you guys, and here's my plate. I'm gonna tell you what, that steak was so delicious, you guys. It's been a while since we've had steak around here, so I was ready for it. Alrighty, y'all, up next is curry chicken. I will leave the recipe down below for this curry marinade. I did get this from my neighbor. She shared this with me a couple of months ago, and so this is like our second time making it, and boy, it was so good. So I did quadruple this recipe based on her recommendation because it coats better if you just do it that way. And so that would be, well, the original recipe is 2 tablespoons of olive oil, 2 teaspoons of curry powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic salt, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and 1 teaspoon of paprika. Now to quadruple this, y'all, I have been doing 3rd grade math for a couple of months now, and my brain is zapped. Any other virtual or homeschoolers just feeling the same way? So I apologize for that. We just measured with all the little spoons we had here. So anyway, now I'm going to go ahead and add this marinade into my bag full of chicken breasts. I have, I think, 2 complete chicken breasts cut in half here. Or no, they're cut into like tenderloins, actually, I believe. Yes, they are. They're cut into tenderloins. And I'm just going to go ahead and coat the chicken. Now here you will see that Harrison is not getting cut by this knife, I promise, but he likes to join me on the countertops quite often. I don't really care for him to be on my countertop, but he makes his way up there just all on his own. He's a little monkey. All right, so Daddy let me loose again on the grill, so I must have done something right the night before. Here, I'm just going to go ahead and throw these on my grill, and dinner will be just about done. We did make some rice and some roasted broccoli for the sides. All right, and there they are, guys, and I'm just kind of proud of my grill marks. I know they're not perfect, but, you know, we can be proud of that, right? And I do realize that not everybody loves the taste of curry. I never really had a lot of curry growing up, so I didn't really know if I liked it or not, but I definitely do. Here is my plate, and it was so delicious, you guys, and the chicken was so tender and juicy. Tonight for dinner is a beef and cheddar casserole, and these are all of the ingredients that you will need for that. You will need 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil and more to coat your baking dish. You'll need salt, which I didn't bring that out, but I will get that out. You'll need 3 cups of wide egg noodles, but I have the medium here, which is fine. You'll need 1.5 cups of sour cream, 1/2 cup of Parmesan, which I already have that's been shredded up. It says 12 ounces of ground beef, but I know this is a whole pound, and I'm going to use the whole pound instead of the 12 ounces because that's kind of weird. You'll need a 1 bell pepper, and then the recipe also calls for 1 bunch of scallions, but I do not have that. So I'm omitting that from this recipe. You will need 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and 1 14.5-ounce can of petite diced tomatoes, and then 2 cups of cheddar cheese for the top. All right, so I'm gonna get to cooking this. It looks like it's a pretty easy recipe. I found it online. So let's get to cooking. First things first, I'm gonna go ahead and add a pot of water on my stove and go ahead and get my noodles to boil in here. And then I'm gonna add my olive oil to my pan and get it heated up so I can go ahead and brown my ground beef. Here I'm gonna go ahead and cut up 1 red bell pepper, and I'm cutting it into slices, but you can definitely cut it down farther if you would like. And here I have some help from some kind of thingamajig that wanted to try to help me cut my bell pepper. This is Hayden in his Halloween costume, and I'm not even really sure what he is going to be. This thing is the craziest looking costume I've ever seen. But there we go, we got it, and he's happy. He was ready to be done with that. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add the bell pepper to my cooked hamburger meat, and I'm going to go ahead and let them cook for about 4 minutes until they're about crisp tender. You don't want them like soggy. And then watch this, y'all. Y'all gonna laugh. Boom! Yeah. Struggle bus right there. Alright, so to the egg noodles, I'm going to go ahead and add in, what are we adding in? 1.5 cups of sour cream and 1/2 cup of freshly grated Parmesan. Yeah, this is freshly grated, we'll pretend. And we're going to go ahead and mix that up, and then we will add it into our dish after we spray it. And this is going to serve as the base of this casserole. Now I'm going to go ahead and just smooth it out and get it nice and even on the bottom there. And now I'm going to come back over here to my hamburger pan, pot, dish, whatever you want to call this. And we're going to roast 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add in my 1 can of diced tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and give that a good stir and bring it to a simmer, and then I will cook it until it's slightly thickened, which is about 2 minutes or so. Next, I'll go ahead and take that beef mixture and spoon it onto the top of the noodles. And just so happened, the peppers kind of migrated over to one side, which was perfect because my husband is not a big fan of peppers, so that kind of gave him a spot of the casserole to kind of pick from. And then, of course, I picked from the side that has the peppers on it. Now we're going to go ahead and cover this with some cheddar cheese all over the top. There's no such thing as too much cheese in my world here. Next, I'm going to go ahead and pop this into my preheated 425-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then dinner is done. And I'm not sure what happened to the footage of my plate, but here is the casserole all done, and it was so good, you guys. Well, that is going to wrap it up for this week's What's for Dinner video. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope I've given you some meal inspiration for your family in the upcoming weeks. Don't forget to give me a great big old thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And until next time, keep them fed.